Okay, hey beautifuls. I was not planning to live stream this morning, but there seems like there are so many of you feeling all the symptoms that I've listed and so much more. I myself have also been feeling things, and hence being at the beach because I was just going to come down and just chill, but just so many of you have been sharing these things, so I'm coming on to talk about the energy, because as I was tuning into it this morning as well, the other message I was getting was around like this Graty energy, that, you know, if I could describe the energy, especially yesterday, but the past like 48 hours, for me, if I could put a label, a word to describe the energy, it would be Graty. Like, you know, when you're like going over a dirt track and you're going over a grated road, it's like that's what the energy feels like, right? Like, tell me if you guys are feeling that, because like I said, I didn't plan to come on live stream, but so many of you guys have been messaging me going, what's going on? And I'm like, I need to talk about this, right? Because I feel like, I was gonna say it feels like it's gonna amplify. I don't think it's gonna amplify. I feel like this is just normal. And like, even somebody posted in my Reality Awareness support group this morning saying, oh, it feels like the energy shifted, like it's like this peace and calm. And I'm like, yeah, but then like for the past hour I'm like, what is that energy again? And remember I think I said it on New Year's, I'm pretty sure, New Year's Day on that live stream, and I was like, it's gonna be like calm, and then it'll be like, and then it'll be calm, and then it'll be like, do you know what I mean? Does anyone else feel that, or am I literally like going insane here? I know that I'm probably not, but I'm just curious how you guys are feeling. Hey Abby, let me share this while I'm waiting for your comments on there, and tell me how you guys are experiencing this energy. This is definitely like ascension symptoms. I do feel like it will be like, this is the new normal, right? And this is where I want to talk about on how we actually handle this, how we actually function when we're so sensitive, when we're even increasing our sensitivities and our, you know, empath abilities. How do we deal with it, right? So I'm really curious about this, and I also want to share a bit of my personal story about it. Just sharing this. Alright, awesome. It is posted. Okay, so I'm deeply curious how you guys are feeling about it. And yeah, so first of all, I want to share, how do we deal with it, right? And as always, like, self-care is imperative. Now, like I said, I wasn't going to come on and share about it, simply because like I've been feeling that Graty energy, like it's like, you know, there's all these things, you know, that will flow and whatever, and it's like, okay, you know, like, you know, 5G, or what have I eaten, or whose energy am I carrying, or blah 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 blah. Like, it's all those things, yeah. And you know, when we, you know, even, and I just want to point out, like, the 5G in the world, like, it might not be in your local area. Hey Renelle. And I wanted to talk about, in the sense that, like, because I did question this in the past, right? Like, when they switch it on in a certain part of the world, that we also feel that too, yeah? Like, I really, as a sensitive empath, I feel that shift in energy, right? Now, it's not like blaming that and blah, 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 because at the end of the day, if we're taking care of ourselves, if our health is at like top notch, like, we're going to be able to knock anything, right? In a sense that, you know, just like the Buddha drinking poison, it's like, it doesn't affect you. This is kind of stemming on from what I was showing yesterday, right? In a sense that we get to that point in our development where things don't affect us. It doesn't mean it doesn't affect us, but it doesn't affect us. Do you know what I mean? So in that sense, it's really tuning in to, well, you know, again, checking all these things. Like, for me, like, and again, I wasn't going to come on live stream. I was literally going to just chill here this morning, which I am. However, at the same time, I like was feeling like, okay, I'm like, cool, yes, the energy shifted today, that's sweet. And then I started feeling like all this anxiety again. And to be honest, like, I'll share my personal story. Like, I've been feeling like really anxious, like heart palpitations, all of that, you know, same with yesterday and even the day before. And like I keep saying, like recently I'm like, oh, I thought it was just me, but then I see everyone else going through all these things, right? And what I want to point out is that when I think it's just me, it's because I know my self-care's down. I know that I haven't been eating properly. I haven't been getting enough sleep. I haven't been exercising. I haven't been whatever the story is, right? And so if those things are down, instead of blaming 5G or the ascension symptoms or any of these other things, the first thing you want to do, like divine step number 8 in the 12 divine steps to awakening your life purpose, is responsibility. Like, I personally know that I haven't had enough sleep. Like, I've been putting in some big hours this past 10 days, right? I was going to say the past week, and I'm like, it's longer than that, right? So I know in myself that I'm extra sensitive. Like, I need lots of sleep, right? If I'm lacking in sleep, I am like extremely even more sensitive. Yeah? If I'm getting like, you know, and not just a good night's sleep, I'm talking about consistent good night's sleep, and not necessarily good nights, like just consistent hours of sleep over a long period of time. Like for 10 days, I'd want to be sleeping like 8 hours a night. And for me, routine and consistency with sleep is something that I thrive on. You know, if I go to bed at 8:39 every night and wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and I do that consistently, I feel amazing. There's something about consistency with anything you do ultimately, right? So when you feel all these ascension symptoms, like maybe they are ascension symptoms. Like I personally believe that as a, not as just a collective in humanity, as a solar system, as our solar system's moving through the entire, wherever it's going, I solely believe that we are ascending in vibrational frequency, or like whatever that is, I don't know, like, but I fully believe that, right? I fully feel it and I believe it. But to blame all your physical symptoms on what's going on out there and on ascension symptoms is not taking responsibility for your energy and your life. So for me personally, I know when I'm feeling frazzled, or I've spent too much time inside around my technology and, you know, working on the computer and all that sort of thing, plus I'm lacking in sleep, plus I'm like, do you know what I mean? I'm kind of like, yeah, until I sort that out, and do you know what I mean? Like, we can't blame those things until we take responsibility for the things we already know, take action on them, give them time to shift if you're doing them consistently, to get back into flow, into rhythm, into self-care, and then we can look at those other things. Then we can recheck in. Do I still feel like that? Actually, no, I really needed more sleep. Actually, no, I needed to balance my blood sugar level with the food I've been eating. Actually, no, I've needed to change where I work because the people around me are really draining. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, yes, there's all the things going on out there, and yes, they play influence into how they affect us. But when our self-care is high, when we're taking extra responsibility for our life and really like, you know, like on top of our game, like the world is our oyster and nothing can knock us. Like anybody will tell you, if you're feeling good physically, if you're, you know, you've got a healthy body and you feel in shape and you're exercising, you're drinking lots of water and you're eating good food and you're getting good sleep and you're taking lots of vitamins, if that's what calls you, you know, and you're feeling on top of your game, like you just don't even, you're like, what? Do you know what I mean? You can relate, yeah. Hey, Becca. So I'm not coming on here and saying, you know, like, I was going to say, I'm not coming in here and saying, guys, step up your game. And I'm like, I kind of am, but I'm saying it more to myself. You know what I mean? Like, Renelle says, I just had a conversation around this last night. Exactly right. And this is the thing where, you know, like, you know, it's kind of like, okay, and the thing about how do we actually fix it? So the thing is that as we ascend and as our vibrational frequency keeps rising, because that's not going to change, right? This is the adjustment moving into it, that, you know, like as we keep going into ascension or whatever that is, like our body, our physical body is going to feel like it's buzzing. It's going to feel like it's being internally fried. It's like this Graty energy that, I don't know what that Graty energy is, of a collective, of an energetic wave that comes over the planet or whatever that is. Like, I don't personally know what that is. Maybe it's got to do with the magnetic frequency field that we're actually moving out of. So I'm pretty sure I told you guys, like the astrologer, I think it's Pam Leo, she said in the beginning of December in one of her forecasts that as a solar system, we've got like around our solar system, it's like an aura. Yeah, it's an energy field around our solar system, just like we've got. And it works on, like, it's the magnetic field bubble or something, right? And where our solar system is moving to in the universe is out of this magnetic field. Like our solar system is moving out of the magnetic field. Like basically the solar system's aura is being removed. Now, if you guys were in Trust the Intuition, I'm sure you would have heard me talk about and remember, it would have been, gosh, it was like would have been like May, June 2018. And I asked for energetic upgrades from the star beings, and they literally, it was a really traumatic experience for me at the time because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And they literally ripped my aura off. There's a bit more to this process, but they literally ripped my aura off and replaced it with the flower of life. So instead of my aura, I've got this flower of life, sacred geometric, like that's my aura, right? And I feel like the solar system is going through something similar. We are moving out of an old level of consciousness. You know, when you think about what the magnetic field does to our body, to our blood system, to everything that it works on, yeah, it's a pretty big change, right? So how do we actually stay grounded through this? And the key is staying grounded, yeah? How do we stay grounded? Exercise, foods that grow under the earth, red socks, telling yourself you're here, outside in nature. 2 hours in nature every day resets your energy field. 2 hours. This is like a scientific proven fact. Like your brain neuro, like waves, like the brain waves and the neuro pathways, they all calm down just by spending 2 hours in nature. And here's the other thing I wanted to share on this live stream, that everybody's like growing their psychic abilities, and you know, and it's important, right? Please don't think anything's wrong with that. Like I'm like the queen of that, or what is it? Maybe that's an addiction or something. Anyway, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. But what I'm saying is that people are waking up and they've never even done this work. Why? Because us as a collective, as we're moving, are all waking up. And it's just like I posted this morning, you know, everybody's got the gift. The only difference is they don't trust it, that's all. They just think they don't have it because they don't trust it. I'm like, but they do have it, right? So how do we ascend with this energy rather than it flooring us and us getting left behind? We make sure our self-care is like on point. If something's going on, first thing you want to check is, where's my self-care? Do I need more sleep? How much water have I had? You know, like what have I eaten? You know, I know for me, coffee's not good for me, but I'll still have it, right? Now I know if I eat something, my anxiety and my heart palpitations will be like, ugh, and I was like, what did I just eat? Like, you know what I mean? And then I'll like change my diet and just check in with that again, right? Because as we grow, all sensitivities, they're all changing, right? It's not like you have to do this massive, big like overhaul, maybe you do, but it's just being conscious of what's going on, yeah? And you don't actually have to do anything to fix it, right? If you spent 2 hours in nature, for example, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're not doing anything, you're just being in your natural habitat, natural environment or something, right? Like I said to you, I wasn't going to come on and talk about this stuff, but so many of you guys are messaging me about all this stuff, and I'm seeing posts about anxiety and blah, 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 and I'm like, yeah, I've been feeling that too, and maybe it is the Schumann's resonance, maybe it is something going on collectively, maybe it is because I was really struggling with the Graty energy yesterday. However, I didn't say anything about it because I knew that I need more sleep. I've put in some massive hours in this past 10 days, you know, trying to be a mom and do all these things at the same time. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I was conscious about how much I've been doing and holding and all of that jazz, rather than, it's the ascension symptoms or something. And I'm like, yeah, maybe it is. It's amplifying that. But I also know I've been taking care of myself as much as I could have been with the amount of work that I've been doing the past 10 days. When I say work, I mean that includes my whole life, sleeping, mum duties, all of that, right? Okay, so just before I read these comments, the other one thing I want to share about this is when I was tuning into the energy again, I was just, you know, and I was like, felt so graty yesterday, like grating over the road, right? Like you're driving on one of those country roads. I was reminded this morning that I did actually say that on, I'm pretty sure it was the New Year's Day live stream that I did. I'm pretty sure I remembered, like, well, they reminded me that I said that. I was like, oh, that's right, I did. Like, I feel like it'll be like a calm bit, and then it'll be Graty, and then it'll be calm, and then it'll be Graty, right? That's like how I could describe the energy. Now, when they reminded me of that, I was like, well, when is this going to end, or how, you know? And anyway, they gave me dates, and if you want to just write them down, and we'll just track this, because I'm nervous to say it. Did you notice that? this whole prediction thing that I'm taking to the next level and I'm just trusting what they're telling me to do, well then, yeah, I'm nervous about it. So anyway, let's monitor the rest of this month, shall we, with the dates that I've been given, and then, yeah, if it's, you know, quote unquote on point, then I'll do a regular month ahead tune in about the Graty days, for example, right? So they said the 6th, and I was like, yeah, that was Monday. Well, here in Australia it was Monday, and yesterday was really bad. So I feel like these dates are like the start of it, and then when I went for a swim before I jumped on live stream, it'll go for 2 to 3 days, and it'll be really, because even this morning I'm still like, I was like, oh, it's fine, but then I'm like, is this anxiety mine, or did I eat? And then I'm seeing all these messages, I'm like, I've got a live stream about this. Okay, so they also said the 13th, so this is January, this is Australian time, so if you're on the other side of the world, you might just want to drop it back a day. So the 13th, the 18th, the 21st, the 29th, and the 30th. Now those 2 days are really close together, the 29th and the 30th. So I'll just say that again if you are writing it down, just so we can see if we're going to track it. So the 13th, the 18th, the 21st, the 29th, and the 30th. So like I said, in the water, it was like, that's the start of the Graty energy, and then it's like kind of 2 to 3 days of still that energy, yeah? So anyway, let's just track that and see what happens. And again, the reason I'm sharing all this is because it's not like, oh, well, this is what's going on and there's something wrong with me and I'm blaming this and I'm blaming that. It's like, no, this is just like knowing there's a full moon coming up and we're taking care of our energy and preparing for it and knowing that it's not all us. And the other really important thing I want to share on this live stream for you guys is like, can you just please stop beating yourself up? I don't know why this big wave of people has come in, and I think I do know why. Of like, it's just like you're beating yourself up, you think you've done something wrong, you know, like it's like you're blaming yourself for all these things, and I'm just like, wow, can you please stop being so hard on yourself? And I know that because I used to be like that. I used to beat myself up, and I used to, you know, like just think something was wrong with me and I've got all this shit and blah blah blah. And then like my mentor Lois, in one of our sessions, she said something so wise. She said 99.9% of all that you are feeling is not yours. And I was like, what? It took me a little bit to get that. 99.9% of everything you feel is not yours. Now, when you really look at your physical body, your chakras, and imagine you've got your aura, right? And your aura is this big, you know, bubble. I'll check comments in a moment. And we've got this big bubble. Now, everybody has also got a big bubble, right? And also, when we walk, you know, when we walk, people's bubbles are kind of still left in places. Yeah, bits of their bubble, bits of their energy is still left in places, just like footprints in the sand. They're still kind of left there for a bit, right? So when we go out to places, public places, whatever, even neighborhoods, you're still feeling that energy of somebody just walking past. And you know, I just dropped my daughter off with a friend and I was walking through the car park back to my car, and I was like trying not to breathe, like it's like I couldn't breathe because I'm really sensitive at the moment. So it was like extra thing, but someone must have walked through there with a cigarette smoking, and I was like, it's like I'm actually smoking. And I was like looking around, I'm like, where the fuck's the person? Now I know the smoke is like, you know, would hang around more than just energy, for example, right? Well, we'd notice the smoke more than energy. But it just like, and I was like literally looking for the person, like I could see what he looked like, I could see, and I was just like, where the fuck's this person? I'm like, get me out of here, you know, get me to the beach, you know, so I was just like so sensitive. But I guess I'm just pointing that out, that 99.9% of what you feel is not yours. Now, if I wasn't that conscious and aware of all of that, I might have then been driving off going, oh, I feel really like sick, or I could be like, oh, I'm really confused, or I feel really clouded, like because you just walked through a cloud of smoke, you know. So be conscious of the language that you're using and how you're describing how you're feeling. You're feeling anxious, I feel like somebody, I'm carrying all their stuff, like I'm always fixing their stuff. It's like, yeah, well, you probably are, and you're probably carrying it, right? So it's like really important to remember that when you start trying to like, what's going on with me? The first thing you do is clear your energy, get outside. The worst thing you can do is analyze every little bit, you know, and I've been saying this constantly to so many clients. I'm like, can you stop analyzing it? Can you stop analyzing? Can you stop analyzing it? Please, that will drive you to insanity and get you put in a friggin' mental home. Like, stop analyzing the energy, okay? Because when we are in our aura and feeling energy, it's not something that, you know, our clairsentience, you know, what do I always say? Your intuition, the mind will never be able to understand intuition. The mind will never be able to understand consciousness, because it's not something, well, I don't know about consciousness, but the energy of where that comes from, because it's not something we can explain. Like, do you know what I mean? So please stop beating yourself up. Please remember that if you were talking to a client or a friend, would you be saying the same words to them as you were somebody, like, to yourself? Like, no. Like, can you just stop talking to yourself as though you're literally beating yourself up? You want to talk about a low vibration energy. You want to talk about a hard energy. You want to talk about your blocks, and your blocks to abundance and blocks to wealth and blocks to all these shifts and blocks, and you feel blocked and you're not moving it forward and you're stagnant. And it's like, how are you talking to yourself? When you look in the mirror, what are you saying to yourself? You know, like, what is your day-to-day thoughts around, you know, like, just general day-to-day thing? Like, I feel shit. I'm like, like, yes, okay. As soon as you recognize and catch yourself feeling less than good, right? Ask yourself a question, voice it once, and then go, what do I need to do to start to feel better? Look at your self-care list. Look at what you've been doing in the past week, 10 days, a month, what you've been through, what the world's going through, everyone, let alone the fact of all the energy of the collective, of the fires and what that represents, and the energy, and then we're ascending and everyone's confused and we're like, what's happening? Talk about exhausting, right? Now, the other thing, take reality breaks. There are people in my energy field, in my following reality awareness, they come in and they're, you know, like, enthralled and like engrossed, and it's good, right? You guys are growing and thriving. And then some of them will drop off the planet for like months. And then they'll come back and they'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry, Hannah, I haven't been watching your stuff. And I'm like, good, good, because reality breaks are important, okay? Growth and personal development is important, but then there's a reason why you're doing all this personal development, right? There is. What is that? That is so you can be in reality a different person, so you can handle reality, so you can face reality, so you can be the warrior in your life or something. Like, do you know what I mean? And we don't, it's a bit like, again, learning to drive a car. We can read a book, but until we actually get in the car and actually learn how to do it, it's a little bit different, right? Same with the spirituality stuff, same with shadow work, same with any of this personal development stuff you do. It's important to learn it all, do meditating, whatever. But the reason you're doing that is so that you can turn up in your relationships, in your work life, in reality, a different person, because something wasn't working before, right? So if you go off and you don't speak to me for months, like, good, I know exactly what's going on. You're having a reality break, and it's important, and I encourage it, right? Because that's when the true integration, the true learning happens, yeah? So I just wanted to say all that. Let me check these comments here, because the screen's gone dark, because I'm trusting it's not going to overheat. I'm sweating my ass off here. Right, turn the sound down. Okay. Sweating my ass out. Okay, so Juanita says, so true, my life hasn't been mine for nearly a year, and it's all painfully horrible learning, but necessary, I guess. Patience and acceptance is key. Patience and acceptance and a plan. So when we're in a situation that we know is unhealthy, it's not need, like you were like, oh, this is not good, but what the fuck do I do about it? Again, this takes time to change. And it's so important, you know, some people think it's going to happen overnight, and like sometimes it can do. We can just walk away from everything. But the reality of that, we've got responsibilities, we've got obligations, blah, 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 right? So keep turning up and doing that. Looking after yourself, the number one step in changing your reality is learning self-care and not letting anything else come in between that. Because just by doing that, you're going to start to feel better about your life in the first place, right? Now, the next thing about that is self-care is making a plan. So in 6 months' time, I don't want to be doing this and this and this anymore, right? In 12 months' time, I definitely won't be doing this, and I'll be living my life this way instead. And so you've got like a plan and something to work towards in being able to move forward. And, you know, and there's something about, I don't know, our soul, psyche or whatever, when we've got something to work towards, there's a reason and a purpose for living, right? And we, instead of being depressed and suppressed and pushed down, we actually have energy again because we're like, oh, we're going somewhere, right? And you know it's somewhere about your heart and soul's calling, right? Because you know, see, the big thing about wake-ups and spiritual awakenings and stuff is that sometimes facing reality about what you're actually living in is just like, oh, I just won't look at that for a little bit longer, and I'm going to go over here and do these other things because, oh my God, that's like, I can't believe I'm even doing that. But we don't, it's like full denial, right? And then it kind of grates on us and we're like, oh my God, I got to do something about this. Like, do you know what I mean? And so having a plan, like I just suggested, is awesome for moving forward rather than it being stuck, denied, buried, and we get worse and worse and worse, right? Energetically and all that things. So Juanita says 2 hours, well, makes sense. First summer, I've not been outside every day, makes sense. Yes, yes, if you're gonna do anything, if you don't know, if you don't have motivation, if you don't have, I'm too tired to exercise, Hannah, I'm like, good, don't worry about exercising. Sit outside for 2 hours. Now, when it's snow and ice and cold, a little bit tricky to do, right? Get indoor plants, create a thing, you know, what are those things called? A greenhouse or something. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, do something, okay? But if you don't have energy to exercise, your remedy is sitting outside in nature for 2 hours. I don't care if it's under a tree, in the park, just get outside and sit there. Like, minimum 2 hours, set a timer, take a book, watch Netflix, I don't care, get outside, right? So important. Preferably not watch Netflix, but you know, you've got to make it work to start with, right? Okay, so Leonie says, I've been feeling anxiety and I just thought it was all mine, but I just did a third eye meditation and yep, I'm feeling other people's stuff, not mine. Exactly right. I can't stress this enough, guys. Yeah, you know, like, and the other thing about the anxiety is that Graty energy that I keep talking about. I feel like the anxiety and the heart palpitations and everything is like amplified in that, and there's been energetic sickness, like I've still been feeling that solar plexus like in and out, and I'm like, is that mine? Is that like, what's going on? Who am I feeling? You know, like all those things, right? So with that, it's like really like tuning in, you know, again, like I haven't really been, again, don't analyze yourself to insanity, seriously. Like if you can't figure it out, let the universe show you. Go and take care of yourself instead, and then you will be shown. Like it's so important, right? Like if you're trying to sit there and figure it out, you will drive yourself insane. Like forget about it. Forget about it. You guys know that intuition only drops in when it drops in. You can't force that shit. Okay, well maybe you can sit there and meditate and get your self-care up and then you're fully connected and it does drop in all the time. But when you're stuck, struggling, and you're wondering why you can't hear anything, because you need to take care of yourself and get reconnected to your source. That's why. Okay, so Marina says, had the most beautiful walk on the beach and saw two and noticed so many footprints and was actually wondering who was walking before me. Exactly, right? It's been so many. There's actually a lot here on this beach. Yeah, exactly. So Juanita, sorry, I don't know if you can see me sweating. I'm literally like sweating my ass off here. It's kind of, yeah, it's really hot. So it makes sense about the energy. Juanita says, gosh, must remember to put protection up. No, you put protection up, you're going to isolate yourself more. Change that wording and, you know, like change the like, I need to shield myself. No, I need to meditate and make my connection stronger to source. Because when your connection is weak, it's a bit like a TV signal. It's going to be frayed and there's going to be all these holes where things can like get in. When you've got a strong cable connection, it's clear as a whistle, isn't it? Right? When you meditate frequently, your energy is stronger. So instead of thinking about, I need to protect myself, no, I need to meditate so my energy is naturally stronger. That's the thing there, yeah? Emotions are high for myself, must decipher what is mine and what is others. Yes, exactly, right? And the way we do that is that when our intuition is strong and clear, how do we do that? We meditate, we take care of ourselves. If you want stronger intuition, take care of yourself. Like really take like radical self-care. Radical self-care, yeah? So Danny says, missed the beginning, catch the replay, awesome. All right, so Leonie says, I used to have visions a lot in my meditation, but lately I've been getting nothing. What is actually going on when this happens? Awesome you bring this up. I've actually been questioning the same too. Like just last night actually, I was like, where's that energy gone that, you know, was it like August, September last year for me when the like triple goddess meditations flowed through and all of this, like it was such a different distinct energy, right? And my my intuition that came through about that is a couple of things, right? So number one, my self-care is low at the moment. I've been working, I've been mumming, I've been in all the things, right? I'm very conscious of that, yeah? That's why I'm sitting here this morning, yeah? And I've got another float booked at lunchtime. So that's number one. Self-care, daily practice, yeah? Visions, all of that sort of thing. Now the other thing too, I feel like on a collective level, this reconnection to the solar plexus, and this is the message I got in the shower this morning when I was questioning all of this, and last night, is that this reconnection to the solar plexus, because I was feeling that energetic sickness in my solar plexus again, and I was like, oh, what is that and what's going on? Like, and so I was getting the message, like, this is a birthing before the birthing. Like, this is like, you know, I always talk about the mother, and she's like kind of maybe agitated or in pain or wanting to clean and get everything organized before we, you know, birth something, birth a baby. It's like a natural instinct. I feel like it's a bit of that going on. So with the visions and everything needs to be really clear. Another part about that is that sometimes we can like receive these bits of intuition and these visions, and it's so clear and it happens all the time. So number one, think what you were doing back then that's different to now, okay? The other thing is that sometimes we get those really pristine, clear visions out of the blue, and we're like, whoa, that was awesome, that was a clear vision, got that, blah, blah, blah. But then what happens is that we become the vision. I teach this in Trust Intuition. We become the intuition. It's not just a, like, oh my God, I got this amazing idea, or like that was intuition that dropped in, and whoa, that was like, oh my God, that was intuition, or whatever. Like, we don't really say that, but do you know what I mean? We can really distinctly define when we're like, oh my God, that was so on point, right? But then as we keep growing in our developies, in our what is it? Oh my goodness, developies, what the fuck? As we develop our spiritual abilities, our developies is spiritual abilities, develop abilities, right? As we do that, we become the intuition. Like, we become, do you know what I mean? Like, we then become it. So instead of it being this like quote unquote random vision that's so clear and we're like, oh my God, we're actually receiving that all the time. We become that intuitive all the time, and we don't realize it. Highly clairsentient people, highly empathic people especially, don't realize how clairsentient they are. They don't realize how much the intuition they're receiving, because they're doing it before they're conscious of it. Remember, intuition is not logic. Intuition is not something the mind can figure out, right? And most of the time we're doing the intuition before we're conscious of it, especially highly empathic clairsentient people, right? So a couple of things with that there for you. Okay, so Juanita says, I was awesome at self-care. I stopped exercising first time ever. Everyone says it's probably necessary, but putting on weight and feeling anxious and lethargic isn't good. Exactly, right? Need energy to do day-to-day tasks plus find new work after resigning yesterday. Okay, awesome. So your new work is self-care. Put priority being outside for 2 hours, especially in sunlight if you can. Sunlight burns, you know, all the shit out of your system. Like, it resets our energy. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's so important. So that's your work. I always say to people who've lost their job or they've chosen to leave, and I'm like, cool, now your purpose work, you've got full time on that, yeah? You've got no excuses now. So Rita says, can't wait to start with you. Yes, exciting to hear. Okay, Juanita says, see, I meditate when I exercise. Yes, awesome, a lot of people do, yeah? It's so important to find what works for you. Meditating normally I used to do, but it has changed. A wise mentor told me that some of us meditate naturally when we exercise. Yeah, because that's how we connect. Yeah, like, and I said this to someone a while ago, yoga taught me how to meditate. There's no way I could sit there and do my meditation before I did Ashtanga classes for 18 months straight. Like, there is no freaking way. Like, Ashtanga is like the most strongest yoga you can do, right? Strongest, disciplined, strictest yoga form, yeah? Until I did that for 18 months, like, yoga taught me how to meditate. There's no way I could sit there beforehand, so just saying. So ironically, I always have energy at random times to do healings, pass on messages unexpectedly. It's bizarre, yeah, because when you're being called in service and when the intuition comes through, it's there, that's the flow, and it can be like that all the time. But it takes dedicated discipline to putting yourself first and building and cultivating that connection. And that's why, as I was just sharing for Leonie, that's why it seems like our intuition or our everything's disappeared, because all of a sudden we become the intuition because we're always in flow, we're always connected, we're always looking after ourselves. Like that, you know how people talk about high vibe, consistent energy and blah, 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 and it's all amazing and all super flow all the time. That's why, because they put themselves first all the time. All the time. It's possible when you stay connected to yourself all the time. It's possible. It's a reality that we can choose to create and live in, right? We have to choose to create that. Okay, so Danny said, I wanted to ask about the healing on the 12th of this month. Is there a specific time that it needs to be done? Well, I'm sure there is specific times, but I feel like, you know, if you tune in to a specific time, if you tune in regardless, it's all gonna be, you know, I feel like the days, you know, because the 12th is the 12th on all different times around the world. So for me, it's always 3 days before, 3 days after full moon, any of those. And I feel like it'd be similar either side, you know, 3 days either side, I feel, especially the 1 to 2 either side of that. So Leonie says, right, I've been so busy being a mother, I will take more self-care. Yeah, it's the cure for all, I guarantee it. Wish I sat on that beach. I know it's beautiful. The water, like when I hopped in, maybe you guys can see, there's like 2 sailing yachts there. Can you guys see that? It's 2 sailing yachts, and the water is like, it is like Lemurian. Like I saw the post a little while ago on someone's page or something, and they said that the 5 Lemurian portals have opened up underneath the water or something. And I was like, so they said to just spend time in the water absorbing that, and I'm like, yeah, I can see it. I can see it there, I can feel it when you're in it, right? It's so amazing. And I'm sweating. Okay, so Danny says, that was me, quit my job and now do my healing purpose. Yes, exactly, right? Dive fully into it. It's like when I stopped in 2016, I stopped contracting for anyone, I stopped working at any other yoga classes or teaching anyone else's stuff. I just fully dove into reality awareness. Like, I was like, but I got to a point, I'm like, I don't have time for anybody else's stuff. Like, it was, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah, you're so welcome, guys. I'm so glad that helped you. That is the live stream that I didn't plan to do, but was obviously needed because so many people were sharing all these things, and I'm like, you know, so there's lots of different grounding techniques we can do. If you can't get outside, be around indoor plants, listen to ocean music on you know, like YouTube or whatever, like there's all those things available, or rainforest or whatever, same, that will really help too, yeah? Also, you know, like grounding foods, like you don't feel like eating, like soups, you know, like drink soups like the cup of tea or something, you know, like grounding foods like pumpkin and bone broth and what, sweet potato, carrots, like there's so much, right? Like zoom it all up and then drink it like a tea or something. Like there's ways to do it. But the main thing is sleep, and make sure you spend time outside, turn off Wi-Fi, turn off electronics, and, you know, meditate. Just still my meditation, not process work, not any of that. And maybe, and sorry, I'm just getting the message that the meditation is the nature sounds, yeah? If you're struggling with anything else, so just give it a break. Reality breaks are so important, guys, okay? It's so important. Yeah, I love to go for a swim. I'm going to jump back in because it is like hot. hot. All right, we've got the full moon ceremony on 3 more days from now. So Saturday morning, or it'll be Friday afternoon if you're anywhere else but Australia. So you can find the link on my comment section here, or sorry, it's on the title of this live stream, or you can find it on my page. Send me a message if you'd like to join us. It's going to be very powerful. Obviously, we're going to be tuning into the Uluru energy and everything else that naturally streams through in these full moon ceremonies. A very, very powerful one. At that, apparently it's the biggest one of the year or something, like the lunar eclipse is the biggest energy one or something. So it's a big one, guys. So lots of love to you. Remember to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching anywhere else or anywhere, can share this video with people who you think would help, or share it on your page, or share it in a group, or you can tag their name in the comments or send it to them in a private message. I love you guys heaps. You're so welcome.